Good evening to everyone within the sound of my voice. Uh, I'm coming back to y'all because in Michigan, tomorrow we will have our primary election, and voters in Michigan are urged to vote uncommitted on the ballot tomorrow. So, I spoke about this in a previous show, but I want to know from you all: do you all think that voting uncommitted is an a vote for Donald Trump? I want to know what you all think, and then I'll let you know what I think afterwards. But obviously, you know what I think because I spoke about it in my previous show. But let's talk about this uncommitted vote. Let me first say that Michigan is the home of the largest Arab population in the United States. It is the home of the largest Arab population in the United States. Michigan is. Now, Michigan is also the state that Mr. Biden won by 150,000 votes last time. Now, let's go over the facts again that I spoke about last show. Mr. Biden won Michigan by 150,000 votes. There are over 300,000 Arabs in Michigan. Over 350,000 Arabs. Now, just in Wayne County alone, in Wayne County, Michigan, we have the largest population of people of Arab descent in that county, has the largest population in the entire world. Now, again, Biden won Michigan by 150,000 votes. So someone answered the question and said, yes, it does. To answer the question, yes. Is voting uncommitted a vote for Trump? Now, let's learn what voting uncommitted means. It's a reason why the ballot has yes, no, or all this other stuff, and then uncommitted. Because uncommitted simply means that a voter is not committed to either candidate. He is not committed to either candidate. That means that whether it's Trump, whether it's whoever else, that voter is not committed to anyone. That's what an uncommitted vote means. That he is not committed or she is not committed to anyone. However, in the context that we're using it today, to where we know the two forerunners of the parties is Joe Biden, the incumbent, and Donald Trump, the former. In that context, I would ask the question again, is voting uncommitted a vote for Trump? Somebody said voted blue, and then somebody said, which means it's a dead vote. MAGA loses one election after the other. I can't wait to vote MAGA out again. Okay. So again, is voting uncommitted? Is voting uncommitted a vote for Trump? So if Democratic voters got out and they say, well, I'm not voting Biden. I'm not voting anyone. I'm not voting Trump. Now, how does an uncommitted vote means a vote for Trump if they saying I'm not committed to anyone? Because let me say this also. To vote uncommitted simply sends the signal to the delegates from your state to be able to nominate anyone. Because your state, the voters have said, we're not committed to anyone. So when we send those delegates out, You know, and we let the electorate know what we desire. Because the United States is supposed to be a democratic country, right? So, voting uncommitted in Michigan primary is not necessarily a vote for Trump. Thank you. Thank you. And I want us to follow, because the narrative that's being sent out is that, you know, we have certain people who are trying to scare the people to say, don't do that, because if you vote uncommitted, that means that you're voting for Trump. And that does not mean you're voting for Trump if you vote uncommitted. Don't get me wrong. I understand the narrative. I understand how it can be misconstrued. I understand how it is misconstrued and how people try to construct a narrative to serve their own purpose. I truly understand that. But I want us to understand, do some of the research ourselves. Just look up simple words, simple phrases in our elections. Just look up those simple words and phrases, and we will learn a whole lot. Because, you know, they say those who control the narrative wins. Well, we don't want nobody to try to control the narrative about our lives and the choices that we make and the desires that we have. Somebody, William Caldwell 231, said, I don't like neither one of them. Me neither. Let me put that out there. Me neither. Neither one of them. Let me see who's trying to get in here. Anti-MAGA and anti-ultra liberal. I don't know. You ain't showing your face. I can't just offer myself up like that there. I be serving my head on a platter. So, again, tomorrow, February 27th. February 27th is the primary for Michigan. February 27th is our primary. So, a campaign called Listen to Michigan has put out the word to encourage citizens of Michigan to vote uncommitted. Why are they asking citizens to vote uncommitted? Because they disagree with Mr. Biden's position on the war in Gaza. They said that Mr. Biden is sitting back and watching people lose their lives on a massive scale. And Mr. Biden is doing nothing about it. He's not trying to call for a ceasefire. He's not trying to preserve the life and legacy of Palestine and its people. He's being very discriminative and scary in his approach to even acts for a ceasefire. It was said that he fears Netanyahu. He fears Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister. And I truly think that he fears him too, because I've looked in his face at times that he's met up and been on screen with Netanyahu, and he looked like he doesn't belong on the same stage as Netanyahu. So, with that being said, do we even want someone to represent us who looks afraid in the face of other powers? Do we even want someone to represent us who looks afraid? Someone said Joe Biden hates Netanyahu. I don't doubt that. But what I'm talking about is every time you see them on the screen together, well, every time you've seen them, it hasn't been a whole lot of times, but the times that you've seen them on the screen, Mr. Biden appears scared. He doesn't even seem to belong on the same stage as Netanyahu. Mr. Biden seems that he doesn't even represent the power of America. And I'm just being real. I don't like neither him or Donald Trump, but I have to be real about it because that's what my show is about, being real. Sometimes the truth hurts. But if you're willing to accept the truth, you're willing to patch the wounds up because you understand that it hurt. But you got to go through that pain to get to where you're trying to go. So again, in Michigan, tomorrow, February 27th, voters are urged to vote uncommitted on the ballot. I ask that y'all share out my feed, share out my live feed, y'all, and we're going to talk about this. The dark truth. Who is the dark truth? He want to come on, but I don't really be knowing people. And a lot of times people come on here and try to disturb the ethers, the show, and I don't want that to happen. You know, I just want to talk to the people, uplift some people, try to get some people to really delve down deep in what's really going down tomorrow in that primary. Come on back on. Who is that dark truth? Come on, let's talk about it. You know, I just mute you if necessary. So come on back on, brother. Let's talk about it. Let's see where dark truth at. Dark truth. All right. So again, February 27th, 2024, the primary in Michigan is going down. February 27th is going down. Let's see what dark truth talking about. Let me see what dark truth talking about. I like to see faces though, but okay, dark truth. Let's see what you're talking about, man. It's going down tomorrow. You know, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, the head of Listen to Michigan campaign, is urging all Michigan voters to vote uncommitted tomorrow on that ballot. Why? She's urging people to vote uncommitted because we, and the people do not agree with Mr. Biden's cowardice concerning the war in Gaza and his fear of Netanyahu and his refusal to stand up and demand a ceasefire, a permanent ceasefire. What's up, man? What's up, dark truth? Where you go, bro? Let's talk. What's up, brother?
Let me back out and come back in.
I hear you. All right. I got somebody coming on TikTok right now. I'm live on TikTok too. I got somebody coming on. Here you go right here. Hopefully y'all can hear him. I turned up the volume.
All right. Look, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So, I'm not from Michigan. And you know, I think, I don't know what your stand or where you align, right? Now, me, I am a former Republican.
Okay.
I voted for Donald Trump.
Okay.
My biggest concern is if Trump gets back into power, and this is, I'm not a big Biden fan either, right?
So, all right.
You know, but I look at it like this, right? I weighed my options, right?
Yes.
And I looked at what's best for the country. And what I saw last night from Donald Trump when he made those statements, I said that's enough. Because to me, that's more pandering to the Black community. Him to say, I cut on the lights and I can see black people.
Wow.
I felt like, you know, that was a blow. That was a slap to the face. To me, being a black man, that was a slap to the face. And I says, I cannot fix myself to vote for this guy. If he took back those statements, then it would be something, because I did vote blue in the primaries in our state. But if he can retract those statements, then it might be considering it. But I just felt like that there was racist. And this is only my opinion, right?
Right.
You know, it was something that I felt like he should have never said at all. Because it makes the statement when he's, you know, like all these statements, I'll land my plane, see what you guys say, is right on the runway. You know, when a lot of people say Donald Trump's not a racist, to make those statements proves to me he is. You know, because those are racist dog whistles I think that, you know, no one should use. You know, and it hurts to hear him say that. But that's just my opinion. I want to see what your thoughts are.
All right, but somebody just commented on what you said. They said, and there was hardly any black people there. It was mainly white. So that makes a big difference too, right? Because now it goes back to what you said about the dog whistle, right?
Yeah. So and it even hurts more that it was an audience full of white tea people, right? There were maybe, you know, a handful of black people right there. I really don't know, but I saw the video. I watched the conference in full content, and beyond truth, I'm disgusted because I feel like these are the same things Donald Trump did. And I'm not telling people, you want to vote for Trump, that's your thing. I'm not telling you, persuading you how to vote.
Right.
But when I hear that, right, and me being black, and I'm sure when you hear that, right, because on the Breakfast Club this morning, they talked about that. And they were telling, like, you know, they don't like that. So I don't. What are your thoughts? Like, I just want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What do you think?
Let me say this here, man. First of all, I don't like neither one of them, right? I voted for, as I said in the previous episode, I voted for Joe Biden last go round. Basically, because I had just gotten out of prison after 28 years, I had never voted. I kind of voted with the tradition of black people vote for Democrats, which following Martin Luther King was a Republican first, but nonetheless, that's another story. I guess a lot of people forgot that. But anyway, so I voted for Joe Biden because I was voting for Hillary Clinton, hoping that she would beat him because Hillary Clinton was talking criminal justice reform. And there's a lot of my friends who's still incarcerated and can't get out because of the 1994 crime bill signed by Bill Clinton. And Hillary Clinton said she was about to come introduce criminal justice reform. So I'm thinking like, okay, so she's about to try to reverse some of this stuff that has affected people that look like me. So when she didn't win and Joe Biden won, me knowing that Joe Biden was the architect behind the 1994 crime bill, he was the architect behind it. I'm thinking to myself, okay, Hillary Clinton's stance is that she for criminal justice reform. So I'm thinking, well, maybe Joe Biden stands. But little old ignorant me, naive me, never heard Joe Biden say that. I just assumed that that's what he was. And so I already know it was Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, sir. I said Hillary Clinton was talking about criminal justice reform. Now, when Joe Biden come around, I'm thinking that Joe Biden, same Democratic type of idea, progressive, would go for criminal justice reform too. And that would help out a lot of the brothers and sisters that grew up around me and growing up in our neighborhoods today. And so when I listened to Donald Trump, when he first came off that elevator, and he talked about the Mexican people and they sending the worst of the worst over here, the rapists, the killers, the thieves, and all of this and that. We knew that was racist off the bat. Anybody with this type of skin tone that we got know that that's racist. But more importantly, anybody with his type of skin tone know that that's racist, right? We knew that. That's indisputable. Now, here's a man who has continued that type of degradation and dehumanization of minorities for as far back as we can remember when he was excuse me, when him and his father was running the housings. And so, and then the Central Park Five, and when he was on his show with Omarosa, now everything that people said Omarosa was lying about, now it all come out. Yeah. So when I think of what he said, them dog whistles, I think of all the dog whistling that he do. It's, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I always liked a lot of the stuff that he said prior to becoming president, because he always told the truth. And you always want somebody around you to tell the truth. Sometimes the truth hurt. You know what I'm saying?
I want to say something, because you said something regarding the 94 crime bill, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think Joe Biden, he was a big advocate for it, but the Black Caucus and half of Congress and the Republican, like, they were all on a bipartisan supporting this bill, right? So I really tell people Joe Biden wasn't the necessary guy. He was for it. He talked about it, but he wasn't who put the bill up. I think it was another congressman who put that bill up, right? But that's what they love to do. They love to deflect. They'll talk about something he read saying the N-word, but I actually read into it. You know, and to be honest with you, Joe Biden has not. He even came out and apologized working with white nationalists. So what I'm saying, Joe Biden he's had a pretty dark past. Don't get me wrong. He's said some pretty messed up things, and he's had a pretty messed up past. So is Trump. But Trump's is a lot worse, you know. I told people, look, you know, Donald Trump's a racist. We can vote this guy in, but we're going to show you who he is. And we showed you guys who he is. Now he's out here. Now it's time to make sure we try to move past this guy. Because if he gets another term, and I'm going to say this, I'll land my plane. I'm not a long-winded person unless someone's a bigot or a racist. But I say this. Donald Trump, if he wins again, our democracy, our country is gone. Because his whole plan is to literally rip America apart and make it into modern day Schmittler type thing. Because he made a quote, and he says, I quote, the other people coming over here from Africa, they're pouring the blood onto this country.
Wow.
And he said it in that way. To me, that is a quote from the Mustache Man, and that is white supremacy. And to be honest with you, I'm like, look, I'd rather vote for Joe Biden being the boogeyman than actually vote for a guy who sits on a stage and says not only the statement he made to pander to black people, but also being racist, right? But he says, you know, talked about the shoes, like, oh, people are buying my shoes. That's like saying, you know, all black people like watermelon, which that's a stereotype, right?
Right.
You know that, right? So I'm just saying, you know, no offense, like, to anyone who supports Trump, but us in the black community, we are not going to support Trump. There might be a handful of people to support him, but all of us in the black community are not going to support him. That's just what's going to happen, because they need our vote, and the black women, and the black women not voting for Trump.
Right.
So that's just my thoughts.
So I just looked it up for you, man. Senator Joe Biden drafted the Senate version of the legislation in cooperation with the National Association of Police Officers President Tom Scotto. That was the 1994 crime bill.
From his past, like I said, I'm not saying Joe Biden was perfect, right? You know, he has a pretty dark past, you know. But he reminds me of Robert Byrd. Like, he's trying to make strides, right? Where, you know, Robert Byrd, if you look at his past, he was a former Triple K guy, or, you know, the 3Ks, right?
Right.
You know, he's with him. And I see Joe Biden is making strides. Like, he's trying. I mean, he's still, you know, I think he still has this thing where, you know, his past is, you know, people know of his past. But I see some form of repentance. Like, I see him trying to change. And to be honest with you, Trump hasn't changed a damn thing. I mean, you can look at Trump from his housing discrimination that you talk about, the Central Park Five, right?
Yeah.
And even now, like, it clearly says what he wants to say. Just say the N-word. Say it.
Yeah, just say it.
Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry, I'm talking. But
no, you talking, man. I love it. I'm listening.
Right. So I don't have a lot of time, but I say this in closing, right? I know that Joe Biden might not be the best answer, but we can't vote third party either, because you don't really have necessarily, or you don't vote at all, and then we get Donald Trump, right? So what do? You got to vote for Joe Biden to keep Trump out of all of you vote for Kennedy, right?
Right.
You have a lot of people say vote for Kennedy. I'm like, think about when you go to the poll. I always tell people this. I'm not here to tell you how to vote, right? Let me drop you a follow. But I'll say this. I'm not here to tell people how to vote, right? You vote. It's your right to vote. You choose how you want to vote. But read Project 2025 and Agenda 47 before you go vote. Read those things that literally is going to happen. And then you make the decision. Because if Trump wins, this country's, and trust of us, most of us can't make it out of here. Because there's people saying, look, I know people on TikTok, they say if Trump wins, they selling everything to get the hell out of here. Me and my family, we can't. So we're going to be stuck here screwed. That's just my thoughts, man. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are, but
you got some.
I think you probably lean somewhere in the middle, but you know, I mean, what are your thoughts? Like,
that's a great line of thinking, man. Real talk, man. Because you know, I said in my previous show that I'm tired of feeling like I got to choose him or him. I got to choose this snake or that snake, right?
Yeah.
I hate that idea. And that's the idea that they have impregnated our minds with all this time and indoctrinated us to believe that if you want something done, you either got to go red or you got to go blue. That's it. They don't want no other party because they doing the exact same thing. And to bring in another party means that you throw off their equilibrium. And they don't want that. So they want to keep us indoctrinated to believe that we only got two choices. Now, at this moment in time in our history, as you spoke about, you don't really have a third party, right?
No.
And then
we don't have a third party because there's no third party candidate ever won. I mean, that's because like you said, it's either red or blue.
Well, you have a brother named that I was just with, Dr. Cornel West.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Dr. Malcolm Tanner. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
So
don't mention that name to me. But.
I was just with Dr. Cornel West, and he made a lot of valid points. And he talked about people being forced by fear. And America is a fear-mongering country. I mean, that's what we do. Ever since even when they dropped the atomic bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they said they dropped that bomb, not knowing the amount of bodies that it would bring, but they dropped that bomb to make a point and cause traumatic fear. So we've always been that type of country, that we've always been more fear-mongering, right? And so you have certain people in politics and certain news media who feed the public, love Dr. West, who feed the public this idea of you got to go this way, you got to go that way, because we cannot stand to have somebody else come in here and do X, Y, and Z. So the news media.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, so if us in the black community, we don't want Trump, because you got the majority, and look, to those people, the black people that want to vote for Trump, and you know what this is after what it was said on that debate stage, or when he was talking to all black conference, he said the quiet part out loud. So if you want to vote for him, we know what you are.
Right.
But then you don't want to vote for Biden, then what do we do? Because if we don't vote, right? Because we saw what happened in 2016. I mean, I voted for Trump. Because like I said, the reason why I voted for Trump, and because I told people, I can give you Donald Trump, because I told people I was going to vote Hillary. But everybody says, no, but all my friends, all my black friends say, no, vote for Trump, vote for Trump. I said, okay, I'll give y'all Donald Trump. But I'm telling you right now, what's going to happen, y'all going to mess around and find out. And I told them that, because my first thing was to vote for Hillary.
Right.
I didn't want Hillary because Hillary didn't, you know what I'm saying? My biggest fear with Hillary, what her husband did with that 94 crime bill by signing. And that was my fear, that, she was going to screw the black community over even more. We were already screwed. So either way it go, we had a choice between another boogeyman in 2016, right?
Right.
So like I said, they get our votes. But my question I'm asking, what do we do in the black community? Do we stay home and vote and then let Donald Trump win? Or do we go vote Joe Biden, who's 10 times worse, right?
Wow.
What do we do? Like, that's the question. Like, we're stuck in the middle somewhere. Well, what do you think? Like, because I'm going to vote Joe Biden Well, I want to hear what your thoughts are.
I don't want to tell people who to vote for so much as I want to tell people to stand up for what you believe. And sometimes when you stand up for what you believe, you got to accept that you're going to be bruised. And you got to accept the fact that sometimes you got to go through something to get to something. Sometimes you have to vote a certain way, vote by issue, right? We'll vote by issue. This particular candidate represents these issues. I don't really like him, but he got some good issues that represent my interests. So I like that. And so some people vote, some people do issue voting. But in this election right here today that we're talking about, don't get me wrong, it's a hard pill to swallow because you thinking like, well, man, if I don't vote, that means Donald Trump gonna win.
We're gonna get the boogeyman. So it's like, yeah. So like, what do? You're stuck. You gotta vote for the guy that everyone doesn't like, and he's not very popular because he's made promises to the black community, and I don't think he's withhold to a lot of it. And we tell people, a lot of these people said, you got to be in our community, and you white tea people don't understand. Joe Biden ain't did a damn thing, just like Donald Trump, and they'll talk about HBCUs and prison reform, but that shit backfired on HBCUs and the prison reform bullshit he put up.
You ain't lying.
So like I said, Donald Trump didn't do a damn thing for the black community, and I'm tired of these, I call them pick-me's that they say, oh, Donald Trump didn't do a damn thing for our community. But matter of fact, our communities went into poverty because of him.
But let me say this in his defense. No, the hell, I ain't saying nothing in his defense. Let me say this here. This is one thing that I did like about when I'm talking about just in comparison. I want to frame that right. I don't mean that I like this, but just in comparison to Biden. I asked a question on one of my previous podcasts. I asked the question. I said, can anybody tell me that you have ever seen Mr. Biden go to a minority neighborhood in the actual hood as a candidate for president or as president and talk to anybody? I ain't talking about those restaurant stops that all candidates do. I'm talking about in the hood, going to the store, going to the church, going to the community center. Have anybody ever seen Joe Biden do any of these things?
I've never seen him do it.
And that's why I give Donald Trump the one credit, the one point that I give him, because Donald Trump came straight to the hood. Literally.
No, Trump come to the hood. Like Trump actually, and I agree with that. When you tell people that, like Trump actually came to the hood. But even then, that still doesn't erase his horrible past, what he did against, because I would never forget what he did to the Central Park Five.
Never.
Me growing up seeing that bullshit, if he put that letter or that article out on him, I said, yeah, that right there pissed me off.
See,
I voted for the guy because I will keep on telling people I voted for him because I want the people to see. Because I can vote for him again and give you 4 more years of this sucker, right? But I'm not gonna stoop that low to vote for this son of a bitch. Because, excuse my French host, but this sucker is not going to do anything. And all those people that type in Trump 2024, I'm going to say it, right? Donald Trump is not going to win the election. It's not going to happen. He has too many indictments. If it ain't the indictments is going to get him, it's going to be the presidency is going to take him out. Because he's not going to win. Because the majority of people says, look, we don't want Trump, we want Biden, but guess what? Hell, we'll stay home and not. But it's still a chance he could win, but I just don't see that. That's just kind of my thoughts.
Somebody said that, of course, Donald Trump came to the hood. He won our vote. But that's my thing. Just think about that. Think about what that person just said. Of course, Donald Trump came to the hood. He won our vote. Well, Biden never, hold on. Biden never came to the hood.
But think about it. They all want the black vote, right? Because they need the black vote, right?
Right.
But most importantly, what do they need? They need the black people vote.
Well, you don't vote for Biden.
Look at Stacey. Hold on, brother. Stacey Abrams, that woman pushed more black women out to vote than anyone. And to be honest with you, like I feel like this: the black women in our community, they push us to vote, right?
Right.
They are the voice for the black community. But I do got to run. But no, thanks for having me, brother. This
Yeah.
is a great show. I really do appreciate it.
All right, man. You take care, man. So what's up with you? How you pronounce your name, man?
It's Don G, bro. How you doing?
Oh, Don G.
Yeah, Don G.
All right, what's up with you, man? Talk to me, man.
I just wanted to refute a lot of the lies the man was spewing. The person before me, he was saying that he was speaking for all blacks, and I know he was generalizing, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. But what I'm seeing is what everybody's seeing. You know, we have a high inflation, we got open borders. With Donald Trump, my 401k was up, my stocks were doing good. I had more money in my pocket. The real estate market was great. Interest rates were low. And then he got hit with COVID, derailed the whole thing. You got to think. There's something.
Well, now I'm back, and I want to help you out.
Hold on.
All right, 1 second. Let.
And then we're gonna tell the dark truth after that.
All right.
Allow me to finish. So I'm just gonna speak to reality. You know, reality is we have high inflation. Go to the supermarket. Look at your gas bills. Trump was actually America first. He actually did that. He actually negotiated the best deals for the American public, for the American worker. And I'm a Latino man, and I'm gonna vote for him. And I respect anybody that thinks differently. But let's be real. The man, the deep state, is trying to take him out because they can't beat him at the ballot, so they want to take him out. Excuse me, I'm still talking.
So let me.
Excuse me.
All right, come on, Don G. Let Don G finish. Finish your point.
I'm not here to debate you. I'm not here to convince you.
Finish your point, Don G, man.
Hey, the point is Trump is winning in all the polls. Trump is going to be president, and everything that the left is trying to do is because they can't beat him at the ballot box. And he's winning all over the place. He's winning every primary. So let the facts, let us vote. Just let us vote. Don't disenfranchise. Don't cheat. Okay.
Amen.
That's
right,
that's my point.
All right. So
Thank you.
So under Donald Trump, inflation was when he left office, inflation was at 9.73%. Okay, so let's throw that out there, right? Inflation right now is at 3.7. Right? So that's hold on. No, I let you talk without interruption. So let me
you spread you say a lot of fallacies, bro. That I
just don't want to listen. The problem is you don't want to listen. Listen to me. So inflation is at 3.7%. Before that, I'm gonna ask you a question. This is what we're gonna do. Who was the president before Obama? For Trump. Who was the president? I'll mute your mic.
All right. He unmuted, I think.
Okay, so just answer the question. Hold on. Just answer the question. That's all you gotta do. I cannot have a conversation with a person that's not willing to have a conversation with me.
There's no point. It's pointless, bro.
It's pointless.
Hey, Don G.
If you don't want to listen, then there's no point.
All right, Don G left. You know, Don G left, but let me just say this here, Dark Truth. Don G left, and that's part of the problem that we have in our society today is sometimes, some debate is good, but we have to hear out both sides. We can't just think that we're going to say what we want to say and then I'm out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And then
I came back up because he was making a lot of false statements. One, who was the president before Trump? Obama, right? Who was the president after that? It was Bush. We had a recession, right? You remember the recession we had?
Yes.
The economy stunk, right? And Obama came in and cleaned that mess up. Trump was handed a silver platter. Perfect economy.
That's right.
Perfect everything. And Trump, in a matter of 2 years, he destroyed the economy. When he left a mark and a stain on this country. But a lot of people don't understand that because what they like to do, now they're blaming Joe Biden, right, for everything that's going on. But I'm going to tell people this. There's something called the transfer of power, right? Trump did not do the transfer of power. He didn't even want to look Joe Biden in the face, right? and he left, got on the plane, went to Mar-a-Lago, and then said, the election was stolen. It still says that bullcrap up today. I'm saying this to anyone. If you want to vote for that man, go ahead. But don't go spewing disinformation because you want us to vote for your candidate. It doesn't work like that. If you give me something, I tell people this, and I'll land my plane because I have to go. If you can give me some new information, something I haven't heard, I'll say this. I will vote for Donald Trump if you can give me some new information that I've never heard. But I've heard all the lies, I've heard all the bullshit. So there's nothing these people can tell me that I haven't already heard.
That's deep.
So I'm not a type of person. If you're gonna spread disinformation, I want you to back it up with receipts. That's it. That's all I need you to do. But
Flat out.
I hop back on. I do got to run. I was just kind of listening to the show. Like I said, I love the show. But if anyone wants to come challenge me, let's have a talk. But I need receipts because I want to show you one thing before I go. Okay, give me 1 second. Because when Trump left office, right? This is the stain this man left on our country and our economy. And you can go to factcheck.org. Let me see if I can find it. Right here. When Trump left office, if I get the big screen, because I want everyone to see this, because I'm not the one to play with. If you're gonna bring facts, bring your facts.
All the time. That's what I say all the time, man.
Okay, so right here, jobs were down, unemployment 6.3%, the unemployment rate 6.3%, jobs, earnings, the economy growth. So everything here, poverty rate was up, it was down, murder rate up. So this is all under, and it's under. You can go to factcheck.org if anybody wants to have that bull crap and say how the economy was great under Trump. Factcheck.org and literally, or you can go to the whitehouse.gov and go to their website, and it will list all of Trump's accomplished and what he did and how he screwed this economy. So like I said, I'm not if you're going to bring receipts, bring these receipts like this. I don't need to hear your garbage. Bring your receipts and prove to me.
I like that, man.
Have a blessed day.
I like that, man. You have a beautiful day, man. Hey, man. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. He had his receipts together. And that's what I was talking about when I was talking about the 94 crime bill was drafted by Joe Biden. And people would say, no, Joe Biden just, no, it's right there. The receipts say Joe Biden did that. So again, I ask that y'all share out my live feed. Because this topic right here is going down tomorrow. Primaries, Michigan, February 27th. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib urges Michigan voters through her campaign, listen to Michigan. She's urging Michigan voters to vote uncommitted tomorrow in the primary. Now, the question is, why is she doing that? Well, she's doing that because the people of Michigan overwhelmingly, primarily the Arab community and the Middle Eastern community, disagrees with Mr. Biden's stance on the war in Hamas. They are demanding that Mr. Biden demand a ceasefire. And he has not done it thus far. He's sitting back and watching the mass taking of lives in Gaza, of the Palestinian people. So this organization is saying to Biden, look, the road to the election, the road to victory is through Michigan. If you want our vote, you better call for a ceasefire over there, or you ain't getting our vote. That's the bottom line. That's what the campaign is about. Now, my question to you all is that, do you all think that voting uncommitted is a vote for Trump? Is voting uncommitted a vote for Trump? Because Michigan residents are being encouraged to vote uncommitted in that primary tomorrow. So I have overwhelmingly people say, yes, that is a vote for Trump. Now, can anybody let me know what uncommitted vote means. See, because that's what we need to learn. We need to understand what voting uncommitted means. That's what we need to learn, because I'm understanding that a lot of people don't really understand what voting uncommitted means. See, voting uncommitted simply means that you are not committed to either candidate, whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's Biden, or whether it's whoever. Voting uncommitted simply means that you are not committed to either person, either candidate on the ballot. So, again, with that being said, and I'll share some more after this, with that being said, do you still believe that voting uncommitted is a vote for Trump? Do you really believe that? Hold on. That unicorn. Hold on. I don't know who the hell that is. So, that's the question. That is the question right there. Do you believe that voting uncommitted is a vote for Donald Trump? See, we need to start asking ourselves this, because this type of campaign is going to keep happening when these presidents act up and want to do what they want to do. Let me see what you're talking about here. I got somebody else about to come on. See what you're talking about here.
Hi.
How you doing? Welcome to the show. I'm great. I'm great, and I'm grateful.
I absolutely do not believe that voting uncommitted, is a vote for Trump. Mainly because I do encourage third-party voting. Sorry about my dog.
Okay. Somebody say Trump is the greatest. All right, keep that energy, because he gonna need it. Keep that energy. And now, you say pretty unicorn, right? Pretty unicorn?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, my connection's a little bad.
Where are you calling from? What state?
Illinois.
Okay, you right next door. So you can feel some of the tension in Michigan right now. That's how close you are. And so this is my thing right here. We have been fed the false narrative by these news outlets, by right, left wing, whatever wing you want to choose. We have been fed these false narratives, and we become scared and fearful. So we say, I can't do this because this is going to happen. They say, well, if you don't vote, that's a vote for Trump. How, if you don't vote, that's a vote for Trump? So now what we're saying is that the election is rigged. To say that if we don't vote, the win automatically goes to someone, that means that we recognize a conspiracy behind the scenes. And if there's a conspiracy behind the scenes, maybe we should stand up and get that exposed. And maybe that's the reason why Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib is urging Michigan voters to vote uncommitted, to stop these conspiracies behind the scenes. Stop these conspiracies behind the scenes from happening. Stop these presidential individuals from thinking that they could do what they want to do because they're in the seat of president. Maybe that's why campaigns such as Listen to Michigan is gaining so much traction. Because we want these presidential candidates and these other candidates who gonna catch this wrath too, to listen to us and stop just thinking that because you are from Michigan or we love you or we like some of the stuff you do, that you automatically get our vote, because you don't. The bottom line is you don't. We don't owe you nothing. You owe us everything. We don't owe you nothing. You owe us everything because you are supposed to represent the interests of the people. That's what democracy is.
They work for us.
They work for us.
We're their boss.
Right. So when they get, it's strange to me. This is what I'm going to say right here. It's really strange to me how these certain presidents, and all presidents, that mainly, these presidents, they get in these offices and they just forget about what the people, with the promises that they made to the people, and then they get, so now they get bigwigged and they stick their chests out and act like they can do what they want to until they run into Netanyahu and them, and then they cower. Then their testicles shrink up. That's the time to have big testicles. When it's time to say, I'm standing up because I disagree with what's going on in Gaza. I disagree with the lives being lost and taken away over in Palestine. I disagree with that. That's the time that you strap on your testicles. Don't strap on your testicles when it comes to dealing with the very people who put you in office, because you the one broke promises. We didn't. You work for us. We don't work for you. You told us that you was going to represent our interests in a certain way as we laid them out to you. And now you get up there in that seat and you forgot the whole conversation. And that's why we're going to forget you on February 27th, 2024, when voters go out and they vote uncommitted in Michigan. Because it's promises that you made. And we don't think that, first of all, we know that to vote uncommitted is not a vote for Trump. We know this. Because we understand that when we vote uncommitted, it's signaling to the delegates from our state so they can be able to vote, so they can be able to nominate anyone. Anyone. That's what we're telling our delegates when we vote uncommitted.
Right.
That they can go there and vote. I mean, they can nominate anyone. I hear you, pretty unicorn.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make the comment that I wish more people in Michigan and Illinois would switch to Green Party and actually vote Jasmine Sherman this election. Because of the high likelihood of a third party getting in this election due to the interstate voter compact and other things that have been happening that a lot of people aren't even aware of.
Wow. Well, some of us are definitely aware in Michigan because we keep in contact with my organization that I work with. We keep in close contact with Chicago, Illinois. So we very connected with throughout the United States, main states like California, and because we do criminal justice reform work and social justice reform work. So we try to stay connected to everybody, and we abolitionists. So we always try to tap in with those other organizations that have those abolitionist views that may be able to teach us something, and we may be able to teach them something or support them in some way. And so again, and then to vote uncommitted signals to the electorate what the people want. It's telling the electorate what the people want. That's what an uncommitted vote means. Uncommitted vote don't mean that because I'm uncommitted, this person get the vote. No, uncommitted simply means that I'm not committed to anyone. I don't owe anyone my allegiance. That's what that means. So I want everybody within the sound of my voice to get it out of your mind and don't allow the media to indoctrinate you to believe the false narrative that if you vote uncommitted, that means that that's a vote for Trump, because that's not what that means. Don't you think political strategists already weighed this whole thing out? Political strategists on both sides, they weighed this thing out. Don't you think that? Or do we think that we're so, and I'm talking about all of us, I'm not pinpointing, putting down nobody, I'm talking about us as a collective. Do we think that we're so unintelligent that we didn't consider what an uncommitted vote, the ramifications of an uncommitted vote, and the realities of an uncommitted vote, and some people's wishful thinking of an uncommitted vote? That's where we at today. And we have to understand why Michigan citizens are being urged to vote uncommitted. We have to put that in the frame. I have to put it in the frame for you all, so you all can really understand this and know that this is not just some people saying vote uncommitted because we don't like him or we don't like them. No. The campaign, Listen to Michigan. Look it up, Google it, Listen to Michigan, headed by Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. She is the only Palestinian American Congresswoman in the United States. She is the one and the only Palestinian American Congresswoman in the United States. She is from Palestine. Her family still lives in Palestine. So she has a natural interest in seeing a ceasefire in her home country where much of her family still live. But besides having that personal interest, she represents the interests of the people who's sending letters to her office, who's calling her office, who's bumping into her at coffee shops and when they see her out and about. And they telling her, we need you to stand up for us. Our people are dying by the masses over in Palestine. We need you to stand up and tell Donald Trump he running for president, say something. Say something, Donald Trump. Why ain't you saying nothing? We need you to stand up and talk to both candidates. Tell them to say something. Tell them to call for a ceasefire. Tell them to advocate and promote ceasefire. Because we know Biden can do it. He represents the superpower of the world. We know Donald Trump has a lot of influence that he could say something. He could urge people. But he's not. And Biden is not. Biden has still not shedded one tear over all the lives lost over in Gaza. He has not shedded one tear. We have not seen him shed one tear. And I'm not saying that Biden is a bad guy, good guy, whatever type of guy. I'm just putting the facts out there because all of this is receipts too. Biden said today, somebody said Biden said today that a ceasefire will be put in place in 4 days. So how many more people will be perished in 4 days? Right. Listen, when somebody tell you who they are, believe them. That's one of our problems. We refuse to believe people when they tell us who they are. Say Ukraine joined NATO today. They had a Ukrainian demonstration or rally out in downtown Detroit yesterday. I was down there. Matter of fact, I posted something on my TikTok page concerning, I did a little video footage down there. So let me recap this. Voting uncommitted does not mean that is a vote for Trump. Voting uncommitted simply means that you are telling your delegates who represent your state, you're telling your delegates that they can nominate anyone. You want the electorate to know what you want. It's not a vote, as somebody just was that Marf Ski 1111. It's not a vote. Somebody say yes, it is. Sir, you need to read up on election law, because that's just common sense. This is the primary tomorrow. It's not the general. It's the primary. And so, see who this is. Rayshard Small. Let's see what you're talking about, brother. Let's see what you're talking about. What's up, though? We say what up, though, in Detroit.
Huh?
I say we say what up, though, in Detroit. Where you from?
I'm from Florida.
Okay. Sunshine. What up, though?
What's up, man? So you're a never Trumper?
No, I'm not a Trumper or a Bidener.
Oh, okay. That's good enough for me.
I'm just the realist, man.
All right, fine. I got you.
So what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm a Trump supporter.
Okay.
But, I'm my personal political views aside, but rational people,
Right.
So why won't you support Biden, or why won't you support Trump? Who would you be willing to support more?
Neither one of them. I think that it boils down in a situation like how I feel. It then boils down to issues, right? What person do you think would uphold their promise to support, advocate a particular issue, or pass a certain bill, or sign a certain bill into law pertaining to a certain issue that represent you or your community?
Fair enough.
I think that's what it kind of boils down to for a lot of people. In other words, it's the lesser of two evils.
Gotcha. I mean, even I just listened to my followers, like Ice Cube. He said, "You ain't gotta vote Democrat just because you're black."
Yeah. I heard Cube say that, man, and I agree.
Well, doesn't mean you have to vote Trump either. Wait, how about someone like Robert F. Kennedy?
I mean, you could vote. Who is Judge Political? Let me see who Judge Political is. I don't want to have to mute nobody, so I hope don't nobody come on here talking no crazy trash, man.
Now, I want to answer your question.
Oh, okay. What up, though?
You're talking about voting in the primary, right?
Yes.
So I don't think voting in the primary. Do y'all have open primaries in Michigan, or are they closed primaries? Meaning, can Democrats and Republicans vote either way, or do you have to be registered with a certain party to vote a certain way?
You are a registered voter. Some people are like, I don't even know what I'm registered as, because I don't think I think I just registered to vote. Now I am a registered Democrat. I am. Yeah, I do remember.
That's like here. I'm in Ohio, so I'm right below you. To vote in the Democratic primary, you have to be registered as a Democrat.
Yes.
So if you are a registered Democrat and you're voting uncommitted, I don't think that they're doing that as a vote for Trump. They're doing it to say that they want Biden to, show them attention or whatever on whatever issue that they feel like he's not addressing.
That's all it is, brother. And
but in the general election, I don't think there's an uncommitted option.
I don't think it's an uncommitted option in general either, man. Because in the general election, this is like the NBA finals. Right. This is the end. You either gonna vote this way or that way. This is the end. You don't get no more votes after this.
And that's what said, y'all can do what y'all want. Again, I mean, I'm for a certain candidate, and that's fine. You guys can do what you want. The problem I have is with Rashida Tlaib. She's a Democrat, and she's telling people not to. I mean, she's not telling them not to support Biden, but she's telling them to protest vote against Biden to pressure him to be more favorable to Gaza.
Okay, brother. Let me put this on your head, right? Say, for instance, God forbid, say, for instance, someone close to you was on the receiving end of violence, right? And your local police department didn't do anything. And this really hurt you bad because this is somebody so close to you. What do you do after that? The local police department doesn't do anything. What do you do?
Let me think about my answer here. Someone's not alive. The leadership in the police department do not do anything about it. What would I do? I would probably go to the federal government at that point. I would try to go to whoever's ahead of that police department. You know, the state attorney general, the federal attorney general, someone else who has authority over them to try to get them to research or to figure out why they're, you know, being corrupt, pretty much.
Okay, so that don't work out for you either. What do you do?
I probably would get to a point where I'm gonna try to fucking. I mean, it's hard to say you're gonna be a police officer, but I would damn near try to take them over without actually going in there and, you know, fucking raising in hell. But shit, I would try to become the police fucking sheriff my damn self.
So it sounds like you would take a proactive approach, right?
Correct.
So, in the situation of Rashida Tlaib, I don't know if you was on at the time when I was talking about she is the only Palestinian American congresswoman in the United States.
Right, I know that.
She is from Palestine. Her family still lives in Palestine. And here it is, the president of the United States, our leader, refuses to call for a ceasefire when all of these men, women, and so many children are losing their lives in her home country. And she appeals to the president and he does nothing. She appealed to her constituents, and so they can appeal to the president and the president does nothing. She appealed to the president and the president does nothing. So and now
that's her opinion that he hasn't done anything.
Because he would want to fact check?
I'm saying that he has said that he has spoken out to Israel, that he has said that they are indiscriminately bombing, that he has told them that they need to have a plan to go into Rafah. So she may presume that he's not doing anything, but then there's two sides to every story.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, there's not two sides to every story?
It's three sides to every story. It's your side, my side, and then the real side. But anyway,
why? I mean, what I'm getting at here is she, because like you said, if the police department is against you and they did something to you, let me ask you this: would you be a part of the police department?
Well, I'm an abolitionist. I wouldn't be a part of the police department, but I don't disagree with other people who choose to seek that as a route. I honestly don't.
You're not getting what my point is. My point is if she's called him G-word Joe, right? G-word Joe.
Yeah.
She believes that the leader of the Democratic Party, which she is a Democrat, is actively unaliving her people, correct?
Yeah.
So why would you want to be associated with a party that leadership is unaliving your people intentionally?
First, let me answer this, because you said that it's just her opinion about Joe Biden didn't call for a ceasefire, right?
No, he's called for a humanitarian pause.
Okay.
He never called for a ceasefire.
United States President Joe Biden says he did not ask Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza in the telephone calls between the two leaders. Joe Biden, end quote, I had a long talk with Netanyahu today, which was Saturday, and it was a private conversation, Biden told reporters on Saturday. I did not ask for a ceasefire, he said in response to a shouted question.
I never said that he did. I never
Receipts.
said that he did call for a ceasefire. I said he called for a humanitarian pause.
And no, I get what you're saying though, right? But it's a difference, man, when you're talking about because the thing is that his testicles are shrunk up. They didn't went up into his stomach because obviously and apparently he's scared of Netanyahu for whatever reason. He's scared of Netanyahu. He don't even look like he belongs on the same stage as Netanyahu. And I'm just being real because I've watched it so many times. And it's apparent that just from what I just read, how is he going to say that he didn't even ask for a ceasefire? How do you think those people feel?
Now, I'm not telling you that I don't support a ceasefire, but I'm just trying to make, because you say you knew a lot about this, you understand why they haven't called for a ceasefire?
No.
I mean, you may not want to believe their argument, but the argument that they're making, and again, I'm not saying that you have to believe it, because like you even said, it's two sides to every story, that obviously the government believes that the H group is a terrorist organization, right? That is the position of the United States intelligence agency in the military complex. So therefore, the president is going to advance the ideology of the United States government, which means that the H group is a terrorist organization funded by Iran. Iran, we know, is not too friendly. They're more of an enemy to the United States than Israel as an ally. So to a certain extent, they feel as if you called for a ceasefire and told Israel to put down their weapons, that Hamas in return would not put down their weapons. Therefore, it would only incentivize or help the opposing group advance their military capabilities while there is a ceasefire. And we know that the H group has said, I mean, they're on tape saying it, that they will continue to attack Israel. So the United States government position is why would we tell our allies to put down their weapons when the other side has refused to do the same?
You're making a great point, right? But
that's why just real quick, that's why we call for a humanitarian pause, which means if you guys two want to fight, that's fine. But right now, we have to deal with the humanitarian crisis and getting people out of the area in which you guys want to go into battle. You can't go into Rafah when there's millions and millions of civilians. You have to have a pause, let the civilians that are in these densely populated areas get out, and then you can resume the fight.
Well, you know that they try to get some Americans up out of there, right? Oh, there it is, right there. Somebody just said it. There are American hostages Biden is trying to get out. That's the only reason he called for that, man.
Oh, for the humanitarian pause.
Yes, humanitarian pause. Humanitarian. In other words, but y'all can do what y'all want to do. Let us get them Americans out first. They're not Palestinian. They're American. Let us get them out first and then continue on what you're doing. See, and that's why Listen to Michigan, headed by Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, was put together, because Joe Biden refused to strap his testicles on and tell Netanyahu, look, stop that. Ceasefire right now. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, as it's reported. Not none of that. Right now. Because too many lives have been lost already to this nonsense. And as I said in the previous podcast, Joe Biden's fingerprints on every bullet and every bomb that has been dropped over there. His fingerprints are on it.
Well, I can understand your interpretation that he says that he wants to pause. Well, my other question then would be, why is it that when you saw in the bipartisan bill with the Democrats that whipped up in the Senate, you saw aid for Gaza? You saw aid for Gaza, right? And in the Republican Senate Israel standalone bill that they tried to pass, there was absolutely no humanitarian aid for Gaza. So if Biden is just for a total and complete unaliving of civilians in Palestine, why, first of all, would he criticize Israel by saying they went too far, said that they're indiscriminately bombing, said that they're starting to lose the public's image, which they are, the public's image, called for a two-state solution, even though Israel has not said they want to do that? Why would he be vocal against, if he's so in the pocket of Netanyahu, as you say, why has he even been critical at all? Because the opposing side of the aisle has not been critical at all, yet they've actually encouraged him to get stronger on the people in Gaza. As Nikki Haley said, finish them.
Well, let me answer your question, man. You said, if he is so for unaliving all the people, then why would he even be criticizing them, right?
Criticizing them and giving humanitarian aid. I mean, he's the one that got the lights back on, got the water back on, all the things that Netanyahu would cut down. That was Biden that pushed to get it back on. Yep. That's called The Art of War, brother. Have you ever read Machiavelli, The Art of War? No.
Read The Art of War, brother.
China. War by who?
China, huh?
Who's it by?
Machiavelli.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll look it up.
Prince. My fault. I said that wrong, brother. Machiavelli. I was thinking of because I got my other computer right here. I'm about to lose my thought, but I was about to say, China funds both sides of wars, right? All the wars by Sun Tzu, but China funds both sides of wars, right?
I don't know that China's giving anything to Ukraine.
No, I'm talking about, I'm talking about this is just what they do. This is why everybody owed China, right?
Yeah.
It's why America owed China so much money.
Yeah, China owes money.
I'm only saying that to say this here. Now, for someone to fund two sides of a war, this means that they gonna win either way, right?
Right, because they figure whoever wins, we're gonna be on their side because we gave both of them one.
So now here you have Biden, here you have Joe Biden, who did call for something.
He called for humanitarian. Yeah.
Okay, he did call, and you said, why would he sit back and just watch them unalive all these people? 1 second, J-Mo, and then turn around and criticize them. That's called the art of war, brother. It's the art of war, because he can't look like a total wimp in front of his people and on the world stage. He can't look like a total wimp. Everyone knows he's already a wimp, but he can't look like a total wimp, a testicleless wimp.
I disagree with that assertion, but okay.
Okay, I mean, have you seen him sit on the stage with Netanyahu?
Yeah.
Did you look in his face? Did you see the stern looking Netanyahu face?
Look, I'm not going to, act like a fool and an idiot. I understand that where the American government, military industrial complex, where their pockets lie and where their alliance lies with. So I'm not surprised that the American president, just like every other president, I mean, look at how Obama looked at him when Israel talked shit about Obama in front of Congress when he came. So unfortunately, the powers that be gotta smile and get along what's that old saying? Get along to keep along, or whatever the hell the saying is.
Yeah, something like that. Who is that? J Sims 3427. What up, though?
Hey, guys. I was just catching some of your topic, and especially the one you're talking about right now. And I'm just gonna give you my opinion. This is just my opinion. That situation, that Middle East, is a very delicate situation. And regardless of what political party is in power, you're going to see the same stand. Probably a little different. Now, I think if Trump had been in there, a whole lot of things would have been different. He'd have gave Putin the green light to just do whatever you want with Ukraine. He would have told not Yahweh. See, you got to look at the Israeli people from the Zionist political government. Those are two different elephants, And they're going to do, now, I believe what Netanyahu want to do, he really want to wipe the Palestinian from over there. But I wonder now why you don't see Egypt and Saudi Arabia and some of those other Arab countries really taking a stand. They did that Abraham Accord back here. In the Abraham Accord, it said nothing about the Palestinian people. It was all about developing economic relationship with Saudi, with Kuwait, and the other Middle Eastern government. And that Israel could live in peace and what have you. But this thing is bigger than any of us. You got to understand who controls the finances here in America. You have so many individuals over there right now with boots on the ground because they have dual citizenship. And they are Americans, and they are Israeli citizens, and they are over there with boots on the ground. Have you noticed one of the biggest, the largest lobbyists is AIPAC? And they going after certain individuals. They don't want to see them reelected because the stands they are taking against this, I don't know if you want to call it a war or whatever, but now even the situation in Michigan, and I know the Arab community is upset and everything, but you are in America, and Trump already done said, if he get in, if he find out you are pro-Hamas and pro-Palestinian, he's subject to deport you up out of here. So, for me, for them to talk about, well, they're not going to vote for Biden, at least Biden ain't talking about sending you out of here because you're a threat to America.
Host, what do you have to say? Because I'm actually curious on what your take on that is. She's talking about the colleges and how colleges are anti-Israel, and Trump suggested that if they were like that they should be deported.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to that?
Brother, what she just said is very accurate and on point, right? But let me say this here. What you just said is very accurate and on point. So don't think that I'm taking anything away from it or challenging anything you just said. I'm going to add something. As you can see, I have a melanated skin tone.
And I do too.
I've been up against the odds my whole life. I know who my enemy has been. Do I just cower to him because I know he's my enemy? Because guess what? One thing that I learned is that I'm gonna die anyway. So I'm gonna stand up for something in the process of me dying. And so now I say that to say this here. Everything you said is correct with the financial institutions and the big wigs behind the scenes and those families who started these banks and all that type of stuff. And those families who started these banks and got all this money is invested over there in every war they invested, because it's Chinese people who, just like the Jewish people over here who started these banks up over here, and some Chinese people who started banks over there, and some African people who started some banks over there, and so on and so forth. So we know it's some big wigs behind the scenes, kind of like in that movie, in that TV show that they used to have called Lost. I think it was Lost. And no one ever knew who the puppeteer was.
Right.
Until the end. Now, we know it's people behind the scenes that's puppeteers. We know that. Just like we know that the president, he ain't got no say so. It's the people behind the scenes that tell him what to do. We already know that.
Right.
I remember Barack Obama. Nope, it was Donald Trump when he was talking about Barack Obama. And he was talking all this stuff about Barack Obama and all this and that. And when Donald Trump got in office, I remember Donald Trump came out and said, he said, I'm paraphrasing. He said, I didn't know it was like this. I didn't know it was like this, because he thought that he can get in there and do what he want to do. But no. You in there because of my money. And if you mess up my money, you may not live to see tomorrow. These are the bigwigs behind the scenes that send these messages out, because they are the one who's really invested in running, organizing, and regulating this whole election thing. So we know that already. We know that. But because we know that, doesn't mean that we're supposed to lay down when human atrocities are happening on Rashida Tlaib's watch. And she feels it heart, it's so heartfelt with her because it's her family. It's her home country. We can look at how many marches happened because the police end up unaliving a black guy at a traffic stop. How many marches happen? And we know who behind the scenes pulling the strings. We know that it really ain't no justice about to happen. You gonna give me $2 million for taking the life of my brother. So you telling me that my brother was only worth $2 million, $30 million, $40 million. But this is how they sum it up. They could throw money at the problem, because the people behind the scenes create the issue, create the problem, and then they act like they solved it by giving you some type of remedial relief.
So can I didn't know. I didn't
No,
want to cut you off.
you good? Come on with it.
So knowing that we know that we're all given a bad deck, and there's two decks because there's two major political parties. And we're not saying lay down. I'm not saying lay down and say, but this is the game. I mean, or unless you're insinuating that we just somehow don't even play the game. I mean, the game is going to happen. The election, like you said, is going to happen. So when you're looking at the deck, you're going to choose the better deck, are you not? That's going to get you the best results, so that you at least can make some type of progress.
I agree with you, brother. That's what Dr. Cornel West was talking about when I was with him a few weeks ago. He was talking about, at what point are we going to get tired of only given two choices? At what point are we going to get tired of that? So I got to pick this snake or that snake. One of them is just a little more venomous than the other one, or a little more longer than the other one, a little more shorter than the other. But I got to pick one of them to live in my house with me.
Well, look, sir, even if Cornel West said if he was president, he gonna have to count. That is a line.
Right.
And well, like you said, once you get in there, all this stuff you think you gonna change and you gonna do, you gonna find out, no, it ain't happening. You're not doing it.
You know, some Donald Trump said that I liked. Well, he said a few things that I liked when it came to him running. He said, but I liked it because I didn't understand it at the time, but I'm still phrasing it that I liked it. I really didn't understand the snake move that he was pulling. He said, I know about the tax loopholes because I'm a recipient of it. He said, I'm a recipient. When I get in office, I'm closing that loophole. Now, he did close it for the little people and it opened wide for the big people. But my point is that he got in there and did something that he say he was going to do, despite, because the people behind him, it's like America love controversy. The people behind the scenes of these politics is the same people behind the scenes of the movies. Art imitate life and life imitates art. So when they can see, I'm gonna give you an example. I'm sure you heard of Jerry Springer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm sure you heard of I forgot the other girl name. She right on the tip of my tongue. But Jerry Springer's show came under fire because of all the fights that would take place, right? The WWF, I know y'all heard of that, the wrestling, right?
Yes.
Came under fire because people with Hulk Hogan and all them King Kong Bundy and them back, they be cutting themselves and they bleeding and stuff and they be punching for real. So all Jenny Jones, when the guy came on her show and it was a surprise person that liked the guy and the guy was a homosexual. I was in prison with the guy that unalived the guy after that show. I talked to the guy. I was in prison with him. And all of these shows came under fire because law enforcement, the government wanted to know, is that stuff real? Because if it's real, then this means you sanctioning violence on your show. So do y'all remember what they did afterwards?
Well, Chicago was filmed in Chicago, and he ended up leaving, going to Connecticut. I do remember it, though.
Listen. This is what happened. They said, Jerry Springer and them said, no, all of this is staged. So afterwards, if you remember, Jerry Springer put a bail on his stage after that because they had to say, no, everything is staged, or now they get shut down. My whole point in saying all of this is that the people behind the scenes like drama because drama creates more narratives and more narratives create more money, controversy. So they had to clean up their act in order to make more money. So they put a bail on the stage. So WWF became WWE, entertainment. So it went from real fights that Hulk Hogan and them say people was getting punched for real to now it's staged. You can see when they coming through the clothes hanger and they really never hit you, you just pop back. It's all entertainment now. But the people behind the scenes know this because they are the one who said, okay, we give them that, but if we want to continue making money, we just gonna call all of this entertainment. But they still making money.
No, wrestling is fake.
So, but back in the days, it wasn't fake.
Yeah, but see what's going on, and I'm just wondering where you're going with this because what's going on in the Middle East is not fake.
No.
He's getting to the fact of, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm there, but I'm not. Is you're saying that they're making money off the conflict back and forth. So using Trump, how like you said, he says, I use the tax cuts, right? I use them, but when I get in there, I'm going to do something about it. Then when he gets in there, he doesn't. So it's all about the entertainment.
They let him do that.
Right. To get in there and then you do what you still want to do.
Because guess what? When they allowed Trump to do that, that gave him all type of credibility. Because they have to have a great hope somewhere. In this case, a great white hope somewhere that can come in and be so brash when he know what it is, but be so brash and say something so outlandish that no other president in the United States history has ever said and follow through with it.
So let me ask you about this then, because you said don't lay down if you're not just gonna lay down and take the oppression. That's what Dr. what's his name? I can't think of his name. Cornel West.
Yeah.
But you know Cornel West is not gonna be president of the United States, right?
Oh yeah. but we talked, and you know.
Right. No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy, but he should understand that again, 2/3. It hasn't happened in a while, but Congress can override the president with 2/3, and 2/3, no doubt, are in support of Israel. So he can come in and say ceasefire and all the other shit that he wants, right? But like you said, the powers that be will override him, or the fucking Supreme Court will shot his ass down. I mean, it's many ways. But you don't think that we understand the threat there, but what about the threat here? Are we more concerned about the unalivings? I mean, again, unaliving is wrong. It's wrong. But knowing that both sides are going to give us the same results, I think one's going to be a little bit better. But it's still shit, regardless if you put sprinkles on it.
Right.
So, knowing that, what about the domestic issues that we have? Should that not sway where you're going to go? Because you're going to get shit regardless if it's over in the Middle East. But here at home, we've got issues. I mean, especially we see that they're rewriting African American history, whitewashing our history. I mean, so when do we become concerned about that and not lay down to that?
You know, I'm so happy that you asked that question, because that's where I was going with all of this. Now you helping me frame it, because what I have been saying, for example, a couple years ago, the police unalived the guy, and one of my homeboys was like, man, we about to go out. I'm about to go down to the protest. You coming with us? I said, hell no. I'm not protesting nothing until we start protesting us doing us. When we start doing that, you're going to see me at every other protest. Now, I'm saying that to say that, to help frame it, to say that if we can see this vote uncommitted work, if we can see this work, we can duplicate it, right? Because we already know how the government feels about the melanated, right? We know that. We live in under a racist government, under a status government. We know that. But I support the uncommitted because I understand, first of all, they're fighting for their life. They're fighting for their rights. And I know Rashida Tlaib. I sat and talked with her quite a few times. Very brilliant, very bright, very humanitarian. That's the difference with me. Very humanitarian, like Cornel West, very humanitarian. So I'm saying that to say this here. If we could help push something like uncommitted through, that would force someone to represent the voice of the people and not their own interests, then now that gives us room. The melanated gives us room, because we know we a hell of a voter block, just us alone. That gives us a lot of room to make certain demands.
But let's say they vote uncommitted, which I believe some will, but it's not going to override the Joe Biden vote, right? I mean, that's me. I will see. It's tomorrow. We'll see. Have you voted? Are you going to vote? Or?
Nope.
So we'll see what that happens. Let's say that the uncommitted gets 20% of the vote. Joe Biden says, I don't give a fuck. I'm still doing what I'm doing. The United States military is still doing what they do. What do you do, or what do we do in November?
Well, let's put this in context. Let me go back and first of all, ask everybody to share out my feed, hit the like button or whatever button is down there, hit that button. Check this out. Let's go over some numbers first. Biden won Michigan by 150,000 votes. 150,000 votes. Now, that's what he won Michigan by. Yep, they just cut me off again. They just cut me off again. So again, the brother said that he was saying that I'm trying to explain to him that if Biden only won Michigan by 150 votes last time, and This time around, there's over 300,000 Arabs in Michigan. Then what's the chance? And they're angry at him. Then what's the chance of him winning right now? If the election goes through Michigan, what's the chance of Joe Biden winning right now? And again, I'm just going to say this because I truly believe that voting uncommitted is not a vote for Donald Trump. And I'm encouraging anyone who agrees with me that voting uncommitted does not mean that that's a vote for Donald Trump. I'm asking you to go out and vote tomorrow uncommitted. Thank you all for joining my show. And I'm going to say peace and love to those within the sound of my voice, and for those who did not or cannot hear the sound of my voice, I say pass along the message, because someone needs to be inspired.